Many years ago, ladies and gentlemen, when Lord of the Rings got its DVD release and the extended versions came out, my brother became obsessed with watching the documentaries, and he came and woke me up at 2 o'clock in the morning, completely and utterly beside himself with joy, as he had just heard John Rhys Davies talking about King Arthur and said, "He's the once and future king in a way." And he went, "Did you know John Rhys Davies is Welsh?" To which my response was, "Yes, Andrew, his name's John Rhys Davies." Welcome to Saving For Skaven. I apologise for the cough that needed to come out of me there. As always, I am Adam, and I am here to push you down this great big soapbox racer as we get closer and closer to the release of Age of Sigmar version 4 or 4th edition or 4.0 or 4.73, whatever the hell it's called. It's just been called New Age of Sigmar for some reason. And I don't know. But I'm not alone. With me today, of course, is the biggest and swingiest of all the Ds. It's Big Swingin' D.
Ew.
And next to him is this illustrious man whose long and unhappy relationship that he's had to deal with me for, 16 years or thereabouts. I'm sorry, it's Adatum.
It's weird. I'm only 26, but I look like I'm 49.
I was actually working this out the other night after we were doing the recording yesterday. That I think I probably met you around about 2009.
2010.
Was it 2010? Were you not the 2009 one?
I have a picture of us meeting 2000.
Mm-hmm.
Crikey. You can already see the regret in my expression. No, because we were talking for a good long time, and then you started talking to me about podcasting and what a podcast is. And I listened to you for about an hour and then went, "Oh yeah, I helped do a podcast called The Underbase." And you were like, "Oh, okay, no point talking to you then."
Was I already drunk by that point? Because
I don't think it was that. I think back then, God, we're already going off tangent, folks. Back then it was small groups of people, because the event wasn't that huge anyway.
Yeah.
But even if you had a moderately sized group of people, that was large in the greater scheme of things. And especially since we were perched on a very small balcony at a Holiday Inn hotel, it meant that you were taking up a good chunk. So it was a bunch of people. There were people there that I see in the photo that I think somebody took of us, that I've never seen at any other event. So you had friends there who never came back, or people who just did it for a one time. But there's also other people there that have been there, or we've known ever since. I think Stu's in the background. It's really weird, but yeah, it's and you walk around like at an event now at any of the TF Nation, and you can see the new version of us. You can see the new version.
Oh yeah.
The people in their like early 20s with some older teenagers there, and some maybe people in their 30s or even 40s. It's sort of on the periphery, and they're all having a whale of a time. You think, yeah, they're gonna be doing that same thing for 5-10 years.
Yeah.
And then they're going to turn around and go, "Why did I do all of it?"
It's weird as well, thinking back to those early ones where it may sound like a really weird thing to say if you were there at the time, but my anxiety was so highly strung going into them that I ended up having this like I put it this way, my reputation was not one of a calm person. It was always very big, very massive, and a lot of that was dealing with the amount of anxiety I was feeling about being around that many people.
Oh yeah, I have two personalities, and it's not even a joke. It's conventions and stuff like that forces you to, whether you're an attendee or whether you are like now doing a podcast or where you are volunteering, it forces you to act like a confident person.
Yes.
And eventually you end up, that side of you becomes something that you can switch on, switch off I mean, admittedly, your underlying social battery wears down, so you end up a shell of a person cracking jokes when you're literally empty inside. But that again, the experience is good for you. It's a positive thing, and it's
Yeah.
a way for you to kind of face that. But yeah, every time I've been in something like that, and especially the moment that I'm with people that I don't know, that shell just disappears. It doesn't even crack. It
No.
vanishes, and then I'm gone. I'm like bedroom straight away. Like
Yeah.
9 o'clock crashing, boom.
Yeah. It's a weird one. It's whenever we did the live shows, I always had so much panic going in, but the moment you started getting the audience's energy up, you started feeding on that, and that was incredible.
It
Oh,
it was, though. I think I've spoken to you about the one time when there was an element that unfortunately broke my shell, and the
yeah.
thing that
Yeah.
I planned so much, I ended up starting my segment just as myself. I hated it. I wanted to die. Never gone back to it. But if you are, if you're in that zone, or even if you're doing a podcast, the moment the podcast starts, like I find myself doing this, talking in a way that I would never normally. It's really weird. So those are people listening, by the way. If you ever did want to reach out to anyone here and go, hey, I might want to give podcasting a try because it sounds like, something interesting. Please do. Even a test one. Trust me. For people who maybe have difficulty in doing like unleashing their social side, doing something like this, these conversations on topics, is a fantastic way to do it.
Agreed.
Yeah,
Agreed.
I mean, I'd never really done anything like this until, Adam, was it a year or two ago I reached out and just asked, would you need an extra body on one of the
Yeah,
podcasts?
about a year ago now. Yeah. Yeah.
And that was a big step for me because I'm quite self-effacing. Listening to you guys talk about the early days of TF Nation and how you met and stuff fills me with quite a lot of regret because I never really knew about the Transformers fandom existing like that at that point. It was only like maybe 2011 I first discovered it and started connecting with people that were also into it. But
Yeah.
for one con I've been to, one of the rollout roll calls, I was just I don't think I really interacted with anyone really because
Was that the London one?
yeah, it was at one of the hotels by
In
Heathrow.
in fairness, that was a very odd one for a lot of reasons.
But it was the first one I'd ever been to
Yeah.
like that.
Oh
I'd been to
wow.
cons before, but not a con like that. One where I
Yeah.
stayed the night and went and was so specific. Most of the ones I'd been to like Collector Manias or MCM Expo, Cardiff Film and Comic Con, that sort of thing. And sometimes with people I knew, and it was quite broad. But even then, I was normally. I mean, I've been to Salute a few times and things, but quite often I go to these on my own, and I'm in and out, and I don't tend to hang around purely because of my nature. But it's so bizarre that now I'm at a place where I do want to try and get to these sorts of things. I'm literally physically restricted in what I can do. So it's actually, I probably wouldn't be able to last some of these cons because one, I haven't drunk in years, but I can't drink anyway now because of how many medications I take for pain and stuff. But also I'd just get exhausted just doing even a few hours at one of them.
It's one of the interesting things that, I mean, I've not been to TFN now for 6 years.
Yeah.
Maybe about that anyhow. And 4 of those years I've been teetotal. And I can honestly say I don't know how I would react being in that environment and being teetotal.
Yeah.
Because so much of my personality going to the conventions was being entertaining. It was for better or worse. Sometimes it went wrong, and sometimes it went a little too far, and I'd hold my hands up and say, "Stupid Adam." But most of the time it was there. And I was using the alcohol as a crutch to be entertaining in front of a group of people, because in the back of my head, my anxiety was just like, they're all going to think you're an idiot. It's, just part of the stuff that I've dealt with since becoming teetotal. And it's not just in conventions, it's all the way, right the way back to being 15 or so. So going into that kind of experience again now would be a very, very different feeling for me, because it would be a whole new world, because it's not me going, doing stuff, running around, working. I mean, last 2 or 3 times I was there, I was working there rather than, just turning up and getting hammered. But then, going to the bar of an evening, and I still don't know how the hell I did that either. Good God.
I think there's been a there's been a lot of change anyway recently in the perception of the bar, especially the drinking, because the drinking was, I mean, I hope no one takes offense to this, but the drinking was seen more of a male thing, more of an older male thing, and more of just because you had pub meets and you had other things, and it was just this thing that a group used to do, and so other people used to join in on, but it really isn't the focus anymore. In fact, if anything, it's the last thing. If anything, now the big thing for people is going out and having dinner.
Oh, right.
That's the big thing, is that they'll go off to whatever, and because you've got so the Hilton, if you don't know it, has got this huge new building called Resort World. If you type in Birmingham and Resort World, you'll see it. It is it's like a shopping area, it's an arena, it's a hotel, it's this massive building. It's in many ways like square foot. It's probably larger than the NEC, but just more vertical. And so you've got everything from your Bella Italias to your Five Guys to your other types of places. So groups just naturally go there in a group and eat. And that's the bigger thing. And yes, they'll come back to the bar, but they don't often come back to. In fact, the last Saturday, the last Birmingham TFN I was at, I came back in after, I think, just going up by myself on the Saturday. Like, there was nothing else I could see. And yeah, that was it. After the show had sort of finished for the night, and there were maybe like half a dozen tables, but it was people chatting. Barely anyone was even touching anything. And it also, as well, it was a complete different vibe. Like, a lot of people had just gone off to chill in their, like, they're better at managing that convention energy. And in fact, I think Nick Snowden did me a huge solid, because he was like, come and sit with us. And it was just a quiet group chatting, really relaxed, really calm. And it's one of those things as well. It really brought home to me that for the first time, I felt like a first timer. Like, when I went to my first ever convention, I was volunteering. So I had that armor against doing that. And by the way, as well, anyone who's ever reticent about going to TFN, if you want a way to distract yourself from that, become a volunteer. It's so good to do that. It is. You get to know so many people in charge. You get instantly comfortable. You're chatting with traders. So, and you're wearing the shirt. So you're wearing a garment of authority. So, although it won't do anything for you when you go into the bar later and you just want to strike up a conversation, if you're during the day, you can always spot people and see people, etc. Maybe help out people. And then with the rest of the crew, you can say, hey, look, are you guys having a drink afterwards? Do you want to meet up? So you can then organize something to do in the evening. And then once you get into the bar for the first time, you start chatting to other people. And it is amazing how quickly you meet new people. The biggest shame is that so many people will not go because they are worried about it. They're nervous about it. But you've actually got people as well who create little forums and areas, say on Facebook, for first timers who are worried. So they will they set stuff up so that a new person will know automatically a few people when they get to the event. Can't recommend it enough. If anyone's got any questions on this, by the way, message me, please.
There's one of the the lasting things I'm so happy it lasted for a few years after I stopped going was that people turning up in suits and like really, really well dressed on the Saturday night.
Yes.
I was so happy that was something that I started that stayed on for a few years.
It's something as well. I kind of wish that there was sort of a very light costume party on the Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
But it almost like just like a bad tie event or a
Mhm.
worst jumper or something like that. Something that people don't have to invest a lot of money or time in, but is a way of just like incorporating everybody. But there's so many things going on. I think from what I know, and I'm not on the inside this year. This year's TFN is like literally bursting at the seams with stuff to do. So I'm sure everyone will have a lot.
I'm going to draw this to a close now, but I'm going to leave this to the listening audience. Do you guys want us to do more mini episodes once this sort of run is finished?
Yeah.
Just kind of like focusing on these elements of fandom and conventions and things like that. If so, let me know, because I'm more than happy to carry on doing mini episodes well after the fact, after AOS4 arrives. Because
Yeah,
that was a
I think
detour I quite enjoyed.
yeah, I think as
Yeah.
well. It's just like kind of I'd love to hear from people about what they think of conventions. There's so much as well, like the bad side of conventions, which we're all aware of. The good side of conventions that we've experienced, but a lot of people won't trust. Going to conventions, going to events. Also, let's include this here as well. The idea of fluff and hammer meetups. Because I think that there are a lot of people who would love to come, but they are still nervous, even for a fluff meetup.
I've got ideas and I've got plans, and I came very close this year to having something in place. But there's that much stuff happening in my personal life that there is just no way I can manage that as well as everything else. So hopefully next year it'll either be Newcastle or Manchester, and that will.
The
Oh,
other thing as well,
all fingers crossed.
I could always, if anyone is sort of nearer London, because obviously there's a good chance there's going to be people sort of in the London area. If they want to let me know, we can always, because it doesn't have to be an official meet. It's just a couple of us meet up a pub. I get to put faces to names. I get to tell you all about Gruffy. You won't believe half the stuff. But it means then that then there's a fluff and hammer meetup. You already know some people.
Yeah.
And trust me, I am the most harmless person. Especially at the moment, I can barely move.
Right, we're going to draw this to a close then, and we will see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.